Welcome back, daring adventurers, to another enthralling episode of our epic saga. I am your host and Dungeon Master Kyle, and today we rejoin our party as they continue their courageous adventure through the Emerald Grotto. Before we begin the episode, let us have a brief recap of our previous session, brought to you by Ariomorton Toast and finished off by Ortega.
From the memory of Toast here, we had met up with Redbeard at the temple, and we had accepted sort of mission to go find this matching amulet or item that was, and we're racing against another team that included, I believe, an ogre named of Maggie that Ortega has sort of a thing for. Tried to give her like a bone flower while they were underwater, but we'll get to that. So anyway, there's this thing, we're racing against another team to get this item. We have to go underwater. We get blown off of a boat. Toast can't swim, so he just sinks straight to the bottom.
With the light cantrip to look like an anglerfish.
Ortega wanted to follow. He followed the other group down, while Talus and Ari sort of stuck together. Kind of went in the middle, followed Toast down, but also kept Ortega and the other group sort of in sight. Toast got lost, and Ari had to save him because he can't see in the dark. It's very dark at the bottom. Eventually, we all met up and went into the cave that we found, the entrance, when there was a wrestling match between Ortega and the other group, like entirely, and they came to some deal where he gave Maggie this little bone flower that came out of his skin, and he held them back, and then we got separated, going different pathways. Toast made some magic rock bullets for Arhi to fire, because guns don't tend to work underwater very well.
Not well, no. The water is wet, you get 12.
Yeah, and then on our route that our team took, we ended up running into a giant octopus. We got inked pretty hard, but we ended up beating the crap out of this thing. You know, Ortega being like all up front in its face, and the rest of us just blind firing. But we did manage to defeat the giant octopus, and there was a bag after we killed that thing. I don't remember exactly what was in that. After that, the team moved farther in, and we came to this sort of open space where there was like a giant shark fighting the other group that had made it there before us. The item we're specifically looking for was dangling from the shark, you know, like a cool lure thing, and everyone's trying to get it. A big sort of kind of fight happened, but it was more so like a fight against the shark just trying to grab the stuff. So there wasn't a lot of like fighting the other group. We were nice enough to not like straight up murder hobo the other team. I do believe that we managed to get a hold of the item, but this is where I had to leave.
Now, you got the finish for us, bud?
We all enter a beautiful sunlit sandy cavern inside the island with trees, and in the middle, a large dais. Talus falls unconscious, along with the goblin. Ortega tries to talk Ari down from shooting the other party, then races to the dais as the drow misty steps, and they step on the stone at the same time. The light around the pedestal fades as a spectral figure in the form of a male human rises from the amulet, and he pleads, "I am imprisoned, please help me." Suddenly, the ground vanishes beneath your feet. Between the drow and Ortega's feet, fell deeper, 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 then suddenly stop, and then this guy named Elixion tells us to come save him. And Ortega and the drow fall unconscious.
In this riveting chapter, our intrepid heroes will have a chance to confront their new friends or their new rivals, and with every stride they uncover the ancient secrets and confront the lurking shadows that threaten their world. So prepare to be captivated as our valiant party embarks on a perilous journey that will challenge your skills and shape their very destinies. Brace yourselves for the electrifying third episode where fates entwine and legends are born anew.
Ortega, I need you to make a sleight of hand check for me, please.
Ooh, a sleight of hand check.
Don't.
I love this game so much.
11.
Okay.
I'm not the dexterous C1.
As the two members of the respective parties fall to the ground unconscious, the rival group, they quickly, look away from the goblin that has fallen to see their drow friend and Ortega pretty much right across from each other. And for those of you that are also not unconscious, you guys look upon the same. This pedestal kind of seems to have kind of like lowered into the ground. Ortega, you did not manage to grab the jewels. The drow, in his unconscious hand, is holding them.
But we're both unconscious.
You're both
unconscious?
Toast is not. The only four, I guess, are the goblin, Talus, Ortega, and the drow.
So I guess Talus and the goblin never saw the vision then.
No, they actually did not see the vision.
Well, if
We're in play now.
if I'm able to...
Sorry, no, Shane, go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, because Toast being Toast, he's very mission-oriented. And seeing that the other team member has something in their hands that looks like we were racing for, and he's unconscious, Toast would just walk over and take it from him.
Okay.
Boop, mine.
While he's doing that,
Oh, and he would say thank you to the unconscious body.
Ari flips out both guns and runs to Ortega, just shy of a panic. He's slapping him. He's no.
Oh, yeah. And then I would also then follow along after grabbing that, seeing Arhi rush over. Just a quick medicine check on our unconscious friend, if I could.
On Ortega? Or...
See what I get. Yeah, on Ortega, because he's unconscious.
Okay.
And Arhi seems really worried. So Toast will just do a quick...
Very worried. He's like, I don't know if what I'm doing counts as a medicine check, but I'm trying to revive him.
Both of you make your medicine check, and then we'll see where you go from there.
I got a 14.
Okay.
I rolled mine already.
Well,
12?
so sorry, Talus, I'm coming soon, but Ortega's my boy.
That's good. Pass.
You're not the cleric anymore.
Yeah. You're not able to resuscitate,
I will go and check on Talus.
but he is breathing.
I'm just looking to see... Yeah, I'm just looking to see if he is alive and not in danger of death.
He's alive, and upon closer inspection, just, by taking a glance, because you guys are they're right beside each other, you can also tell the drow is also...
Yeah, I would do the same thing. I would, check him and then also immediately turn to check Talus, because that is what I do.
Talus, on the other hand, she passed out from not being able to hold her breath. She is alive.
So if I run to Talus, after Toast has confirmed that Ortega's okay, what do I see on Talus? What's my read on Talus?
Talus, make a death saving throw for me, please.
Oh, does she have HP?
No.
Is this something that I can heal?
In the chat, not in private chat, tell me what you rolled.
Okay, this is terrible. I've never done private death saves before. It's haunting me a little bit.
It's really, really scary because we don't actually know.
I'm sure that he mentioned that on day 1 in the rules.
Yes, he
But I haven't
did.
deal with it yet.
Actually, no, he didn't. He just said...
I did.
Sorry.
I did specifically say that death was...
Oh, no.
Yeah, that is why I immediately went to a medicine check, because I wanted to see if I could ascertain whether or not Ortega was dying.
Can I just shove a potion down her throat?
Why am I not a healer?
I cast Cure Wounds on her. I'm gonna do it. I don't care. I'm gonna cure the water that's in your lungs. Fucking heal so you don't die. I don't care. You seem to be worse off than Ortega.
When you did...
10 HP.
When you did get over there, you noticed that her chest wasn't moving in the same way that Ortega's chest was moving. But with your cure wounds, you were able to make her go... She got that breath, the water kind of split through.
Yeah, so Toast walks over, assesses the situation. He kneels down next to Talus and puts his hand on her chest. His hands glow like a gold, and there's a ringing sound. And he pushes down, and then water comes out. She goes... Are you okay? Are you alive?
I would appear to be alive, yes.
Parameters are acceptable.
I agree.
Do not die. No dying is allowed.
Both of his guns while Toast is saving Talus. Pops up both of his guns and he just starts protecting people. He's just holding it out. And I would like to do an investigation check on the group that I see. I know the drow is down.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're reacting to the drow. I don't know if they're trying to capitalize on the down of my crew. So I'd like to do an investigation check, or just tell me what I'm seeing, please.
I would say actually make a perception check on this.
Perception check? Okay.
Oh, and while that's happening, I don't know if anybody lost their temporary HP from before, but if so, just to those people around me, I would then, while healing Talus, pulse a little bit of temporary HP to the group.
Take it, and I love it, baby. Yeah.
Because that lasts an hour, and I don't know how long it's been since we were traveling through the caves, but
let's top it up, man. Let's top it up.
That is the plan.
I have 2 pistols engaging multiple targets.
So, with you said it was 18 for perception, right?
18, yeah.
The other group was kind of doing like almost a similar sense of like what you guys are doing. They saw they saw Toast and Ari kind of run over to Ortega, and they're like, okay, they're going that way. Let's take a look at our goblin friend first. You see at this point the blue-skinned female had seemingly dumped a red potion. You assume it's a potion of healing. It's not uncommon. Into the goblin. The goblin's eyes open, and at that point, you see Maggie. She starts kind of sauntering over to the drow. They are definitely trying to take advantage of the fact that you guys are also trying to, get your party back up. It's no different than what you guys are doing, really.
Yep. But I also took the jewels that he had in his hand, so I took those away from him. The drow.
Yeah, actually, could you make a sleight of hand check for me, please?
Oh, I wasn't being stealthy about it. I just took it from him because he was unconscious.
And I'm pointing guns.
It was literally the first thing I did.
Okay.
I already ran to Ortega. I walked over to the body, grabbed it, and then immediately went to Ortega after that.
With my check, any outside of healing their party, anyone twitchy?
I wouldn't say twitchy, but you did notice that the shaggy guy, the shaggy looking fellow, had said something to Maggie and kind of like pointed into the direction of the drow as Toast was kind of coming back with the jewels in hand.
I point my gun at the other guy. Sorry, what was his name again?
You don't know.
What is Dr. Maggie?
It's just Shaggy.
Shaggy. Sorry, whatever his descriptor was. And I point my gun at him and I say, Shaggy, turns out we're here in close quarters with an easy opportunity for us to all die or all get along. How about we don't whisper anything doing with the drow? What are you doing here?
He kind of subtly like shifts his body a little bit to reveal that he has like a lot of weapons on him, and he just shows this. He's got like 2 daggers, he's got like 2 pistols, he's got a long sword. He just like kind of like moves his duster behind, and he like puts his hand on the holster of one of his guns, and he raises his other hand up.
You're not fast enough.
Yeah.
Do I need to perceive to see this happening?
This is all pretty much happening like as you're on your way to Talus.
Okay.
Yeah. He just goes, look, you guys won the amulet fair and square. It's just, there's 2 items, and we kind of cheated on the second item. I was just letting Maggie know that, these new guys, they can be cheaters. Just be careful. You won fair and
Game
square.
of cheater, dead men. Take your pick. This is ours. I will revive our people. You going to get in the way? Can I bring my crew?
Well, the way I see it, we're both going the same place. I don't understand what the hostility is. You're the ones who've already butted ahead. You're the one with the...
Toast recommends a ceasefire.
You're the one with the flintlock raised.
Please cease all hostilities. The competition is over.
We just want to get our friends. You won the contest, fair and square. That's fine.
It is okay, Artie.
I look back at
I
Toast.
think we are okay.
I uncock my gun. I put it away, and I look back to Talus and Ortega. They don't seem to be trying to kill us. So now I'm I'm out of defensive mode, and I want to make sure my people are okay.
As you lower your gun, like he kind of like moves his hand off of his holster, and he kind of like puts the duster back, and he goes over to the drow, and you see that like he also administers some form of aid. And he looks at Ortega, and he looks at you, Ari, and he goes, "Look, if you promise not to kill us, or try. I'll rescue your friend here too, and we'll go merrily on our way, or we'll rest up and we'll go.
That sounds amicable to me. However,
Go ahead.
However, if you are lying, I will eliminate you.
Ari spins his gun and says, seconded.
No hard feelings, only health and safety.
No hard feelings. I look over to Lady Tatiana. What's her vibe? As she's seen everything that's gone down in this conversation. I'm just looking for a vibe check. I don't know if you can say something if you want to. You don't have to say anything. I'm just curious with the vibe.
I am staring at the stones, trying to figure out how they would have caused, like, the vision or connection, trying to figure out what exactly they are. But I'm staying pretty quiet, pretty much to myself.
So at that point, Ari will, seeing that she's investigating and she's not actively fighting, I'll disengage. Well, then I run back over to Ortega, guns down, and I don't know, the next day, you fix him now.
I'm not gonna and you just, and he whistles. He whistles, and then you see Maggie just. She looks down at.
I will watch.
She goes, looks down and gives a little wink, and like a little. She out of her like brassiere area, she pulls out this like sweaty health potion and just. And she just. Like opens his mouth, holds it up really carefully and gluk, gluk, gluk.
I look over to Toast and I say, honestly, I think that'd make him like it more.
You think so? I do not know the properties of ogre sweat.
Oh, my friend, you'll learn.
I am capable of learning. And he gives some weird robotic wink where his one eye just slowly bloop.
That is so deeply disconcerting. I just need to go make sure that Ortega's okay. You give me a minute. I need to process what just happened with us.
As long as you are okay. If you need someone to talk to, Toast is here.
That's really lovely. But I go and check on Ortega. What's up? What's happening to Ortega?
Ortega will open his eyes and gasp air a little bit as he looks up into the deep blue eyes of Maggie Keen Eyes and stares into another intelligent being's eyes real deep and takes a second to collect his thoughts on what he perceives to have just happened. And he groans a little. Well, that was unexpected, Maggie. I appreciate the kiss of life, but I should attend my friends now.
She's holding you, kind of cradling you up. And she was like,
so like a toddler that really doesn't want to be held.
Yeah.
Ortega pushes himself away, probably with the unintentional not looking push off the chest or something like that, just trying to get away from her towards his group, and looks at Ari and sees that the guns are down, gives him a nod, looks over and sees Talus awake and says, "You all right?"
I feel like I'm missing a little bit, but other than that, no one is bleeding, so I think we're okay.
I have removed the water from your lungs. You shall
appreciate it, Toast.
Ortega's gonna look at Ari and say, kind of surprised that no one's bleeding, but I sincerely appreciate it.
You asked me to not make anyone bleed.
I don't think it's necessary at this time. And then Ortega, realizing that there was jewels on top of the dais, he's going to look at the dais and immediately scan around to see who's got them.
Toast just slowly, with this grin on his face.
And Ortega's going to walk over to him and say,
back over to Ortega as well, facing forward. Gun's not out, but it doesn't take long.
I appreciate you picking those up for me, Toast.
Would you like them?
If you don't mind.
I currently have no need for these materials.
Ortega will take the jewels, the stones, and put them in his coin pouch for now.
Those appear to be valuable. Keep a close watch on them.
Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to get some firewood and get a fire started. We might as well rest here. It's open air above us.
It does seem like if we don't all want to kill each other, maybe we should relax a few moments.
I definitely recommend some R&R are. Also, I do not sleep like normal people. I go into a resting state, but I am completely aware of my surroundings.
Handy.
Well, Toast, that would be very handy out in the wilderness, but we are literally in a cave with only one way in, and that's up there. So feel free to really keep your eyes on yourself. You know what I mean?
Well, I do have eyes. They are stationary, though. I cannot move them. I, however, can watch the other group while everyone rests.
Ortega's gonna look at Lady Petrovic, having not ever really actually learned her first name yet, and then he's gonna look over at the blue half-orc and just say, "We'll get a fire started. You guys got anything for food? Or shall we get some fish? Or go grab that shark? That actually is probably the best idea."
There was also that octopus that you slayed. I have heard that octopus is very tasty, if cooked correctly.
It's farther, Toast. The shark is literally on the other side of that wall.
That is fair. I was only offering suggestions.
So, as you look at this half orc, she looks around and she goes, "Actually, yes, I have something I can give you. And she kind of like starts casting something, and she pulls out like a basket, and she kind of just like holds out her hand a little bit, and a bunch of berries just drop out.
Oh my heart, the good berries.
And she goes, I have made 10. There should be enough for everyone to have one. It will be perfect for what you need.
Well, alright then. I'll still get some firewood, unless you have other means for having a fire going all night that'll keep us warm. May get chilly overnight, although we are in real cold. We're in an enclosed space with 10 bodies. I'm sure it'll warm up.
Well, unfortunately, not really. But she points.
That's not a problem.
She points to the drow and she goes, "Galcerad, he has a spell or two that he could create fire, a bonfire of sorts."
Galcerad? His name is Galcerad?
Yes.
That's a cool name.
Galsariad.
Well then, I'll get some firewood, unless Toast wants to go get some firewood. There's a couple of trees in here.
There's very
That way we will have plenty to keep the fire going all night.
If you suggest that to Toast will do that. He will go and search for driftwood, basically.
Well, there's trees in here. You could literally just cut down a tree and use the entire tree and make logs and...
Trees are usually, especially living trees, are usually hard to burn. So finding driftwood would be the smarter plan to get the fire going and stable. And then cutting down a tree would be probably the next step. I will start on that.
Magic user, Toast. He makes fire with magic.
We don't need to put down things that are alive to last an evening.
I'm sure there is some dead branches and stuff that we could use without having to kill nature. If not necessary.
If there's if there's like a nature conservatory in Yormaton, I didn't know I could love this game more. But you found a way.
Toast doesn't like harming living things if he doesn't have to.
You be my guest, Toast, and find some driftwood back in that cave we just went through that had 0 driftwood in it because it is underwater.
We're not underwater now, and there are trees in this room. If I go to somewhere, anywhere around here, I could definitely find some dead branches. Most likely.
You'll find dead branches. It's not that hard. Yeah.
See? I just picked one up. Here is one. And I go around one at a time, bringing them back to a spot to create a fire. I do it one branch at a time. Not all at once. 1 branch, 2 branch. And just keeps doing that, doing his own thing.
As Toast is building a fire a branch at a time, I will fade back to Talus quietly, with the idea that it's not in front of everybody, though I know it's a relatively small shared space. You're back up and standing. You okay? Anything happen in there that I should know about?
I think I'm okay. I don't remember much after the wall exploded. The air in here seems odd to me. Did something happen?
I mean, a lot's happened, and everyone feels air differently. Does the air feel bad to you, or does the air feel okay?
It's not bad. It's just that everyone's eyeing each other as if they all know something, and I don't like not knowing what everyone else knows.
Ari leans in closer to whisper even quieter. Well, I don't know shit except for the fact that we're on the team. Let's keep our eyes together and our communication closed. How we tell
That I can agree on. Indeed.
Aye. Cap. And at that point, Ari, whatever else he's doing, whoever else he's talking to, is keeping half an eye over on Talus.
Ortega is gonna eye up Lady Petrovic again, but then really walk over to the lady that just fed us good berries in exchange for fire and hold out a hand down to her and just say, "As you've heard, my name's Ortega. It's a pleasure to meet you."
She goes into her basket and gives you a berry, and she goes, "My name is Io. I want to say pleasure is all mine, but given our circumstances, there's been a little bit of bad blood so far, and I really hope that we can rectify that."
As do I. My intentions were purely from my party to win and never to harm you guys, whether it may have worked that way or not.
Can Ari hear this conversation?
Oh yeah, it's out in the open.
It's in the open.
Ortega literally walked over.
Ari only looks over and quickly says, "Sorry, no offense meant. You were strangers before, but maybe not now."
Well,
That's trauma. Sometimes causes people to do strange things.
I really hope that all 10 of us can safely walk or swim out here alive. So we as a party, we know when we have been bested, but we didn't want to come off as sore losers.
You ain't sore. You seem okay now. And I look over to Ortega. Now it seems like we need to find a way out of here together. Whether we rest up first or not, we might need to start thinking about exit strategy that works for everyone.
I agree, Ari. But seeing that Io here can create some berries that keep us nourished, we're not in a rush to get out of here. I don't see why we don't get to know our friends. I'd like to say old and new, but we're really
He whispers over to Ortega, just so only Ortega can hear it. "You were the last new friend I made, so help me, please."
I am going to help you, Ari. You're the first friend I've had in a long time. And this is not being said like in a whisper, like people can hear it. And I know you're not easy to trust. And you know what I mean. You don't trust easily, and I had to earn it. But you earned my trust too, and I know you can earn their trust. We'll work on it together tonight as a group.
So as Toast is walking by, hearing you talk, he just kind of is like, "That sounds like excellent communication skills. Good job, Ortega. Also, are we looking to go up to get out? Because I have an idea."
What do we need to rest? I look around to everybody, to Lady Tatiana, to Talus, to the other party as well. Do we need to rest, or should we start moving forward towards leaving? What am I able to ascertain?
Ari, I see that look in your eye, but 4 of us were just unconscious. A rest is probably necessary.
That is my recommendation.
The fact that we can learn from our new comrades and about the ones that just fought for us, I think that's a blessing in disguise that we need a rest. I don't care if you don't say a word all night. Knowing that you're here watching my back makes me sleep better. And I know the same goes for you.
Yes, sir.
I'm not asking you to make friends. I'm asking you to watch my back. But they just went...
I might, actually. And he looks over to Talus, he looks over to Toast, and he looks over to Lady Tatiana. And he also looks at the other party and he says, "I've had good experience recently making friends, and I might be up for one more round." And I start making a fire.
Oh, nice. You walk over to Toast and put his last stick. Allies are better than enemies. Also, when we are ready to leave, I have some rope. And if we are planning to go up, my idea is maybe Ortega could throw this javelin, and like a little compartment pops out on the side of him, and it goes, and the little javelin pops out. If we tie the rope to the javelin, maybe Ortega can toss it, it will stick, and we can climb out, possibly.
I vote we wait till morning, but
Agreed.
we are all in this together. Maybe we should take a vote. Do we want to rest, or do we want to get back to town and then rest? Not knowing, A, how we're getting out of here, and then B, getting back to town.
I would prefer to rest, as my capabilities are slightly diminished.
Talus?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Talus.
To be clear, if everyone wanted to leave, I would be fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. But it sounds like the general consensus is that we are staying, in which case that would also be fine, because I'm a little bit tired. Not so tired that I couldn't continue on if we had to, but I'm a little bit tired.
Of course not. I don't feel like there's something that you couldn't do. But the rest is handy.
How about Lady P?
Yada.
Yeah.
Lady P, how are you feeling? You have not said much recently. Are you okay? Toast does a quick scan.
That's actually fine. But as it was mentioned before, 4 of you were unconscious. And if we do get off or crawl up, who knows what we're going to run into. And I'd much rather deal with whatever's out there with a fully healed party than 4 people who were just unconscious. No offense.
None taken. Excellent observation.
I do love that Toast and Ari at the same time are like, none taken.
Well then, Io, Maggie,
The
Delsa,
Goblin and the Drow.
other whose names I don't know.
People of varying ethnicities.
We're staying for the night. I guess it's up to your own group to decide whether you want to stay or find a way out.
You see AO kind of look down at the goblin, who looks like he's seen better days. She kind of goes, Thermont, are you feeling okay? And you see the goblin, he's like, no, I'm not. And she's like, okay, well, we will take a rest. Thermont, he's got some healing powers, and we've been pretty reliant on him being able to do that. So we're going to stay and wait until he's all better.
Excellent plan.
I don't blame you. Now, Shaggy here, does he have a name too?
Oh, yes, it's Irvin.
Irvin?
Just Irvin?
Well, he's got a last name too. We all have last names, but this is Irvin Wastewalker.
I am just Toast.
Wastewalker.
That's an meta.
That's an interesting name. Well, we're gonna sit by the fire. If you want to join or not, that's up to you.
But he looks at Maggie and he just kind of like shrugs. He's like, yeah, all right, I guess we could go sit down.
Before the other party joins us at the fire, Ortega is gonna look at Ari and Lady Petrovic, Alice, and Toast, and kind of think to himself a little bit before saying, it has been an extremely long time for this fella since he's seen a group as capable of handling themselves as this one is. I know we're not a group per se, but I wouldn't mind sticking together a little longer. Now, I know Ari here may have some issues with that, and I'm not asking him to parlay those issues, but all I know is you all saved my ass from that giant squid. Even if I could have handled myself just fine on my own. You didn't have to, and you did, and that means something. And having a robot that can heal you is something not a lot of folks have.
That is true.
That's earned a lot of trust from me, and I know it's earned at least a little trust from Ari. He's a little harder to win over in that department.
That is okay. I am still learning the concept of friendship, and you folks are actually the first experience I have had with a thing called friends. I know people, but I am now closer to you people. And he looks like he's thinking really hard on how he's trying to like he doesn't quite understand, but he does at the same time. Like it's like not something that he's fully grasped onto the concept of.
Ari looks at him and says, maybe we'll learn together.
I do like learning.
Ari, I like you and what we bring to the table for each other. I look at this group and I see a bunch of folks and what they can do for us, and that reciprocates what we can do for them. Doesn't have to be forever, but I think it's good for now.
Allies are better than enemies.
What about you, Lady Petrovic, and whatever Tati stands for. I know, you said don't call you that, and I don't mean to. I just don't even know your name yet.
Tatiana.
But that makes a lot of sense.
That close to me can call me Tati, and I barely know you.
No, but we've both been within 5 feet of a giant squid and came out to tell the tale.
Are you okay with Lady P?
All I'm saying is that Lady Petrovic is rather long.
Yes.
No, because this is another slang term for urination, and that is definitely not you. I think I will. Lady Petrovic is fine.
Maybe we'll just call you Lady.
Call me Tatiana, if you must. Call me anything else.
Okay, as you wish.
Now, before our friends come over, I want to play a game called What Was Up With You Not Needing to Breathe. Oh, in case none of you all saw, she didn't take her potion.
I didn't notice that, and now I do.
I did not either. Quick medicine check. She doesn't need to breathe. Does she... I don't know. I'll walk over. Can I detect warmth coming from her?
I was born cursed.
You were born
Cursed. Got it. Now, what about the red eyes? That was a fancy trick.
Yes, born cursed.
Born cursed. Well, I mean, that's better than making deals with shady...
Ari spins his revolver, not in a threatening motion, but in a way that someone does with a fidget spinner. And he says, well, it's nice to have company, late.
So far, your curse doesn't seem... I don't know the parameters or specifics, but it doesn't seem very detrimental to you. So one could look at it more as a gift rather than a curse, if one was inclined.
I thought it depends on what someone wants to do with it.
That I've received from my father is a gift. He was a tyrant, and it is nothing but a curse.
That is fair. Everyone's perceptions are different, and I do not know the specifics of your origin.
Well, hey, we find ourselves in a cavern with a hole we will climb tomorrow. Path indeterminate. But I don't know what any of you are doing once we get outside of this hole and talk to that holy goblin again.
Traveling.
I look over to Tatiana. I say to her, for you, what comes next? I met you in a town square a few days ago. Look over to Ortega, back to you, and say, it seems that it's in my interest to open up and maybe be willing to meet new friends. I don't know the last time I was in a cavern hole with somebody. So what's next for you, Lady Tatiana Petrovic, when we escape this here hole?
Going back to Ragnir and asking him what this is about.
Well, it seems like you maybe knew him a little bit, unless I misread, which I'm apt to do, but I don't think I'm wrong.
No, I have known him for a very long time.
Well, please, do tell, as he might hold the next week of my fate in his hands, assuming the next week does not end my fate.
Alright, I know you don't like being talked down to, mainly because I'm way up here and you're way down there, but
Shut up. Yeah.
We just survived a giant squid and a giant shark. There ain't nothing killing you in the next week.
I don't know if you saw his armor. I don't know if you saw his temple, but we're playing on the edges of something bigger than all of us put together. And last time I did so, it went real south, real fast. So I ask again.
Do you have any idea who he is?
Not insofar as I have seen his face and accepted his offer for reward.
I have ascertained that he is a religious man.
He is the priest.
Toast.
His friends are basically to thank for saving our entire existence.
Toast, make
Do you want me to make a thing?
Make a history check.
History check. I actually am pretty good at this. 19.
19. A really weird thing kind of blurts out of Toast. It's not his voice. It's almost like it's a recording. Oh, it's an older recording, but you hear a female's voice kind of saying something about, oh, it's a riddle, something about a door. And in this recording, you hear Ragbeer's voice as well, and a few other voices. But Toast has no idea. It's just kind of and he just sends it like an audio recording.
What are you all looking at?
Recognize it? Do I recognize
Tatiana,
do I recognize that it's Ragbeer's voice and
you know exactly who they are. It's been a long time since you've heard a lot of those voices.
gonna just give you a very strange look.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Where did you get that?
Get what? What are you speaking of?
You heard him, right?
Ghost just kind of looks back and forth at everybody like, what have I done?
Voices I haven't heard for quite some time. Other than Ragbear's, of course.
Oh,
You, at this point, you see the cleric, Dermot, the goblin. He kind of walks up to Tatiana and he goes, so you know Ragbear. That much is certain. He's never mentioned me.
No, maybe. Who are you?
I'm his nephew.
Maybe. I don't know. Has he mentioned him?
Ragbear has never mentioned his nephew to you. He looks around and he goes, you know, Ragbear has been trying to bring faith to fellow goblins and goblinkin. It's why I do what I do. He took me under his wing. I only just got back from Rosona, and when I got to Rosona, I met with Galcerat. He was interested in learning more about Avandra and the Luxon, so I took him and we traveled north together. It was when we were in the City of Beasts, essentially, is when we got this postcard, and we just headed up north. I've been talking to him for a while, so I'm not entirely too sure why there was another group involved. Maybe this was just his way of creating competition and then testing to see who the better group of friends could be. I don't know. He doesn't really tell me a whole lot about really any of his stories. He just says that there's a lot of things that he wants to keep in his history. So my mom and I, we never bothered. The last time I actually saw Ragbear was at my mom's funeral, so it's been a while.
This Ragbear fellow kind of sounds
Mother,
and that doesn't stay close to his family. Seems to want to keep things in for himself. That's what this goblin just told us.
Don't get me wrong, he's great. He's great. He's just, for a holy man, he's got a lot of demons.
Tom.
yes. That is a very, very good way to describe him. He's had a lot of undoing.
I find that most people, and I don't know this Ragbear outside of having met him but yesterday, but I do find that if you walked a long path, you had demons along the way. At least, that's been my experience.
You have any demons you want off your chest today, Ari?
You know, there are demons you get off your chest, and there are the demons that you let inside your chest.
I'm sorry.
I don't think I've made up my mind yet. But Ortega,
I know that to be the truth.
Will. And he looks up at him with this, like, one of the first honest smiles you've seen. You can see his smile through the mask covering most of his face.
May I ask, the demons on your chest, are they invisible?
They're theoretical, Ghost.
Toast, my friend. You may see them sooner than later if your eyes are open.
Are they good, or are they bad demons?
You've already seen my demons, Toast.
Anyways, enough about us and Ragbear and my history. I'm interested in Talus.
And immediately Ari just turns like this.
Yes.
I heard she captains a ship.
Ortega's eyebrows will perk up a little bit at this.
Most blue eyes just blinks and his head tilts.
Clearly trying to get the attention off me. And you're sitting there ever so quietly. Do tell. You obviously have a little bit of magic.
Yeah, what is up with that?
That's a little bit of magic. That's all.
Yeah, odd magic. I ain't seen people shoot people with force blast before. I mean, I've seen a robot piss in the wind underwater, but I ain't seen somebody do that before.
I am incapable of pissing.
It was a figure of speech, Toast.
I have not learned how those work yet. I am sorry.
You remember when you tried to shoot ice out of yourself and it froze?
Ah, yes, that was a mistake. Physics are different underwater.
Toast. Extrapolate and let Talus continue.
Please continue your tale. I have much interest.
What is there to share? I am a successful sailor, and I spend my days out on the sea. It's not terribly...
Become captain.
Are you a pirate?
Of course I'm a pirate. What other kind of sailor is worth being?
I honestly do not know, but I have done some reading.
And what are your thoughts on piracy?
Laws are just constructs made to protect people. Piracy is just a form of freedom. I
Indeed.
generically find that laws are conjecture. Depends on how you look at them.
I think you and I understand each other quite well, Toast.
I am trying.
There's nothing wrong with a little order, though.
That is true. Laws are in place for a reason.
So
It is just your free will to follow them, if you wish.
is your magic arcane or divine? How did you come across it? Or is it just natural?
None of
Do you
the
just
above, let's say.
Well, that leads me to only one conclusion,
Did you make a deal?
and that's, did you make a deal?
Oh, wait. You don't have to take that tone. Sometimes people make deals, and sometimes
people
there are
make-
consequences.
And sometimes people make deals.
Sure.
If we asked you a question,
I'm an open book. I have nothing to hide from the likes of you.
So who's your deal with, and what do you get from it?
Same.
deal.
Now, I will admit I'm only asking for my own safety. If
I will
you
keep
make
you
a
safe.
deal with something that's going to come after you down the line, I would kind of like to know before it shows up.
I haven't seen my patron in a very long time. I don't know who she is. It was a single exchange. She saved my life, gave me power, gave me this fancy little crown on my head, and that was that. I offered her my help, and now I'm alive because...
She gave you a crown.
That seems like a fair exchange to me. I do not see malice.
Well, it depends. I think mostly on the time frame. So, Talus, do you owe her something specific, or do you owe her in perpetuity?
Let's say it's unclear. I offered her my help, and the deal was made.
What did she look like?
I also like that you said you offered her your help. In my mind, that leads me to believe that this thing saved you of its own accord and wasn't expecting return value. But you offered it, which again
Toast,
leads me to
I think-
not see malice.
Toast, I think you might be new at negotiation. I think maybe
Oh, I do not know much of negotiation.
Alice had everything to offer her.
That's
I'm
true.
curious, Alice, when we talk about what she looks like, when we talk about who she is, does she have a name?
She never gave me a name. She asked me to call her friend. That's all I know her as.
Or what did she look like?
Most believes her, because you may not know.
Ortega is staring
Negotiate.
daggers through Talus right now.
What Ari's thinking? That means that they stumbled into the best deal they ever found. If it works out that way, but as someone who's got a lot of bones in his closet, Ari is not pushing it any further. His physical reaction to Talus's response hopefully indicates that. Shoulders lower. He takes a step backwards. He nods respectfully. Her answer is sufficient for him, and he's not pushing it forward.
To pry. And my apologies if I've offended.
At this
I may
point, I
not-
think I mean
Not
full
trust
of
you,
them.
friend.
You've been nothing but kind to me. But what did she look like? I think you can tell from my appearance that this may mean a little more to me than the others.
Has Ari drawn the conclusion that their bone-oriented crown fixtures are congruent or similar? Have I made that connection, or no?
Not really. They're different. I mean, they're similar, but they're very unique and different in their own way.
Okay, no sweat then. No sweat. Thank you. So Ari stops, and hopefully he's trying to communicate just through like eye contact and nods and stuff, and is trying to communicate that.
I did not mean to offend.
Fine
I quite
now.
like you.
I think Talus is just going to... I think she's kind of getting the sense that people have very mixed feelings about this, which is not alarmed her, but has kind of put her on edge. And I think she's just going to say the woman that I met who saved me, who gave me this power, it was a very long time ago. I don't remember much about that time. I was dying. I was weak. I was scared and alone. She was an old lady. She seemed frail, so I had no problem offering her my help. And I was terrified, so I would have given her anything.
Thank you.
I can understand that.
Ortega's face goes from very stern and staring daggers through you to a very visible look of relief, going, thank you for your honesty. I just had to know that two people didn't make the same mistake.
Oh. Did you make a deal with somebody?
Of course not, Toast.
Okay.
Ari would like to roll an insight check silently on Ortega.
Yeah, go for it.
It was a natural 1. Never mind.
Oh.
Speaking of what was that, the game we seem to all like. Ortega, what did you pull out of your skin?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That was definitely
As
abnormal.
I reach behind myself. I mean, it's probably fairly obvious that a slight pinky purple glow happens, and I will pull out a bone rose with thorns on it that kind of matches the growths on my skin, underneath my skin, and I will just...
Apologies. What, a bone rose? Like you're saying, it's the bone fixture. Oh, goodness.
No. It is a rose made out of bone.
It's made
It's
of
a
bone.
rose. It is made out of bone.
Yeah.
Can you pull this through your skin?
All you saw Ortega do was reach behind him to a pinky purple glow kind of fading off the back wall behind him as he pulled it out of thin air, or himself, whatever you want to believe.
That is abnormal for your species.
And I will just hand it to Tatiana. And then as an action, I will telepathically tell her a very neat trick.
Indeed.
And then I will tell her with another action, so about 6 seconds later, you will hear, I can speak through it or I can see through it. And then the bone will crumple to dust.
Trick in the cavern, that.
It allowed me to make sure our compatriots, Dermot and his allies there, were still all right.
That's so cool.
Trigger, happy friend, what is your story?
How about this? The evenings have been long, and I feel like a rest might be overdue. How about this, milady? In a better time, in a better place soon. My story fits a song I once heard every night on the road in my old life. And I will either tell it to you, or with enough courage, I'll sing it. But tonight,
Oh, please don't. Please don't. As Ortega will kind of protest that he doesn't, but doesn't stop him at all from doing it.
no.
Is he a bad
Tonight's not the
singer?
night. I am quintessentially working on it.
Fair enough.
I don't believe a person is good or bad. They are simply getting better or getting worse.
Usually
I
with
prefer to
practice.
think that I am getting better, but I am currently without any instrumentation, except for as he spins his revolver in his hand and puts it, after a flare of flicking his pistol around like a Wild West cowboy, puts it back in his holster. Besides for a deadly music, I am but a learner.
That is a good way to be.
Did you do that?
Is there a specific instrument you would like?
Only instrument I need is these. And out of his little breastplate, he'll pull out his scimitars and then sheath them again.
Those are weapons.
But
No, they make blood sing, Ghost. They make blood sing.
I have never experienced
That's
that.
so much better than the line I was gonna say. They make blood sing is so good.
I have never experienced singing blood, or blood at all, for I do not have that.
It's a shame that the water muffled the sound.
Let me tell you, I've been there for a symphony. One does not forget their first Ortega original. Now, my instrument
Shame
of
I was
choice,
in the dark.
Your instrument choice.
I don't think I could have bared seeing it in the light of day. But for me, outside of these two, the slinger and the stinger, I think one day I might find myself an instrument like someone I knew used to play 6 strings someday. But let me tell you, I've mostly been, as Ortega can attest, moving from place to place with enough coin for food and housing and bullets.
That's because he doesn't like to live in the woods.
No, I prefer soft beds and warm company.
The woods are safer. Well, I'd say that we've learned significantly more about each other than we knew yesterday. Is there anything else anyone wants to get off their chest?
I did have one more
or wants to know?
And I look over to Talus. Generally, you find captains on their boat and not off them. Generally, you find captains with their crew, not with a new fellowship. If it's not something you want to talk about, I respect the captains coming down, but it's a quizzical notion to find a captain here without a crew.
My crew left on good terms, but not currently with me. You are correct. And although I may not be on my ship now, I think a captain is always on her ship in spirit, and the bond that I have with my ship is unlike any bond I've ever had with any seafaring vessel, and she's never too far from me. And I think Talus is just gonna pat one of the bags that she has strapped on the various belts on her body.
Do you know what though? We'll do an insight check to see if she's bullshitting or not.
Yeah, go ahead.
She might be. She always a toss up with her.
It's a 14.
Let's just put it this way. She's not lying.
She clearly doesn't have a real boat.
But she's choosing her words carefully.
Yes, she's choosing her words carefully. You do notice that she kind of pats her bag significantly. And
so I got the bag pat. I saw that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't trying to hide that or anything like that.
Okay. Oh, I misunderstood. If I saw that, then I am satisfied.
So I guess the only thing left, Tatiana, is to figure out what's next for our compadres over there. Or do you even care?
Not really.
That's
But I
fair.
assume that Ragbeer's nephew is going to go back to Ragbeer.
Well, it was a race, so I feel like there's probably some form of award ceremony and the whole ordeal with the reward. I don't even remember what that was, but I'm sure it was pretty good. Probably 20 gold each or something like that.
You're assuming there's honor among goblin folk.
One that wears a coin as his religious god, I'm sure he's good to pay up.
Ari's gonna do a quick thumbs up, thumbs down on Ragbeer for the party. I look over first at Toast. You trust him?
I would not say trust, but I'm gonna go with thumbs up for now.
I look over to Tatiana. You've known him. Trust or no?
My life.
I look over to Talus, Captain. Where do the winds guide you?
Honestly, it doesn't matter if I trust him or not. I'm gonna get a reward either way.
Another valid point. I do like that. And it seems like I'm closing down the conversation, but I come right up next to Ortega, so only he can hear. You good?
We're still breathing, we are? Of course not.
Yes, sir. I go to the fire, and I start preparing my layout for the night.
Ortega is going to reach into his bag and he pulls out a full-size tent that's big enough for him and probably one other person. Begins setting it up, and then he'll pull out his whetstone, give his swords a little once-over. He'll undon his armor, revealing what would kind of look like tattoos, but it's just thorns. All those thorns all over him, all over his chest. They weave all over him. No roses or anything. It's all just thorn bush, and there's probably some scars too. And then he'll kind of take his armor and set it on top of the fire to heat it up a little bit. Take it back, set it on a hard rock, and take out a hammer, and he'll kind of hammer a little dip that was in it from the octopus so that it's back and not digging into his body a little bit. Finally, he'll kind of pack it in for the night and say there's room for one more if it rains.
As Ari is drying out one gun and spinning the barrel of the other, he looks over to Toast and mouths it without saying a word, assuming that he can understand a little bit of lip reading, and says, "Thank you." And that's it. And then he looks away, not to be re-engaged.
Post notices.
Ari doesn't say thanks a bunch, but respect earned is respect given.
Post notes. He is aware enough to know that you are not looking for a response. just a nod, and then goes back to like his thinking sort of thing, because it looks like he's thinking about something.
As you guys kind of settle down around the fire, do your various due diligences, cleaning guns, etc., the other party, they kind of, for those of you that are awake or alert enough, you hear them muttering amongst themselves.
Sorry, I meant to say this before, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it might matter for this. Ari's intention is to take the first watch. My watch is not based on the other party. Propped up against a wall with my hat down a bit, watching everything and listening to it all. Minimum amount of sleep to get a full night's sleep tonight.
For those who also Ari would still be, obviously he's awake, you notice that Toast sort of seems to like kind of slump a little bit, and like his color almost seems to dull, but like a power down type thing. Looking at him, you can see that he is aware of everything around him. He looks more robot-like in this state, or automated turret, kinda, I would say, rather than a lively being.
The first watch is Maggie, and you do notice that the drow was kind of
No one in the other party doesn't watch alone. I'll stay up. If she's first watch, Ari's there.
Yeah, they take turns just as much as anyone else would. But you hear, like, simple mutters. You hear Dermot talking about Ragbeer, about how he feels like he kind of let him down by losing the contest, even though they were ahead. He hopes that Ragbeer will forgive him, etc.
Oh.
But other than that, like, the night progresses really easily. It's there's no hazard whatsoever. Everyone on that side, on the other party side, seems to be fine, and the drow is the first to wake, so to speak. He gets his long rest in quickly, and he starts scouting around. You see him casting minor spells and things to try to see if he can figure out the distances that it's going to take to get up, and by the time everyone else awakes...
I only require 6 hours, by the way.
Okay, yeah, so you would have woken up pretty quickly, too. But by the time everyone else is awake, he's going to say, well, it looks like we're going to need about 100 feet of rope to get out of here.
I have 50.
I have 50 as well.
Awesome, that's good.
And he kind of...
I look over at Lady Tatiana, and I say...
Fucking math skills, am I right?
Simple addition.
He just, like, while you guys are talking, he's like, whatever, and he, like, puts his hands out, like, he's like, I want the rope. He's like, just give me the rope.
Say please. Manners.
Give me the rope, please.
I do not like your tone, but okay.
May I please have the rope is the more etiquette way of saying it.
Tatiana is correct.
He just ignores that, and he takes the rope, and you see the rope kind of like tie itself, and then you see him like he looks like he's doing the tying, but it's like exterior, and then he just shoots his hand, like he puts his hand up in the air, and you see one end of the rope just all the way up, and he tries to tie it around. You see, gives itself a little tug, so it should be good.
Toast will walk over to the rope and yank on it because he is heavy.
Make a strength check.
Oh, good roll, 19.
Miraculously, it actually holds.
I deem this rope safe, and then if nobody objects, I will go first, as I feel I am probably the heaviest. If it can hold me, it can hold you.
I kind of glance over at Maggie. Think you might have a challenge there, Toast.
I noticed that, and I say, good observation. However, I am made of heavy metals. I tend to be more dense and weigh more than most organic beings. And then with that, he turns to the rope and does like Andre the Giant from Princess Bride and just like hauls himself up the rope. I'm climbing, so athletic strength check you want from me?
Make the check. If it's a 1, then we'll do something. If it's not a 1, you're fine.
Fair.
We'll do that with everybody.
May I use athletics?
Yeah.
14 for athletics.
You're able to listen.
Will climb. He does his weird climb, Andre the Giant style. Then I will anchor myself and also put my hands over top where the knot is tied for extra clamping. of the knot.
The next person to come up is the Goblin Cleric, and then Irvin is the one after that, and then
Ortega comes up next.
I think my goal is to exit where, if Ortega's going up first, I will look to, and Toast is sort of holding back. I'll look to Talus and Tatiana, and I think that we might kind of, my goal is for us to zipper in with parties mixed for safety. They seem like good folks, but I don't trust them.
for the sake of time, it's not difficult to climb up this rope. The last one to kind of get up there is Maggie, kind of keeping up the rear, and you guys get up and out, and as you guys get out, you find yourselves, I would say, about maybe a mile out, or a mile into this set of islands. There's a large hill where this opening kind of breaches to. It has your typical island style flora, fauna, palm trees, and down in the key you actually see the boat that you had shown up to. You would have seen this mountain, this hillish mountain, when you first went into the cave area, but just from where you were versus the water, you wouldn't have known that this was there. And the trek down back to the boat, you see there's kind of like a single path that at the bottom of the hill, a single path that kind of leads to this very small village. There doesn't seem to be anybody living there. It looks like maybe it was just like some shelter, maybe for the people who were building placing things where they needed to be placed, or raising giant octopus to put them in there, whatever it might have been. It just seems like a small abandoned seaside fishing village. You follow the
pretty scenery.
Yeah, it's a cute little inlet. You follow the path that leads to kind of like a broken down dock, which obviously the dock leads to a pier. And by the time you guys have gotten to the pier, you see that the boat that you had showed up on is now basically docked and anchored, waiting for your arrival.
So I look over to Talus and I say, well, what do you think of this vessel?
I think Talus is just like looking at the ship quietly, doesn't really like answer. Ari is just kind of like soaking it in, just picking up all of the little details, and you can tell that she feels more comfortable here than she has the entire time that you've been on this set of islands.
Just a nice, quiet contemplation. That's nice.
Ari doesn't follow up with her non-answer. He gets it.
Upon your boarding of the Wind's Fury, you see Ragbeer kind of standing there with his arms crossed. Got like a coffee in the morning kind of thing. Like he's sitting there like a mom on Christmas with her coffee, and kind of awaiting your arrival. And right, so who was the winner of the competition?
I will grab his coffee, start drinking it. Take a wild guess.
Ortega is just gonna glance over at Io, see what she does. See if she's willingly says it, or if we have to claim it still.
Io looks at you guys, and she just kind of, well, we got to the emerald first, but they were successful in getting it. We lost, and that's okay.
Good sportsmanship.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
She gives you a thumbs up back.
Ari speaks out at that point and says, Mr. Ragbeer, sportsmanlike competition is not a common thing.
Yes.
Our competition is acted with honor. We are victors, but no one lost today.
Well, that's good to hear. If there was an issue, I probably could have resurrected, if that was the case. I do declare you all the interim champions of Avandra. Congratulations.
Is Avandra your god?
Yes.
Tell us what this is really about.
Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna continue a game from last night, but there was a vision of some sorts. It's not me and that drow over there, Galisarad, I think his name was. It's real hard to pronounce. Elven, funny name.
I know a thing or two about elves. Drow specific.
There was this vision of a man named Alexian or something like that. Knocked me in the drow unconscious. What's up with that?
I'm sorry, I don't really know what you're talking about.
We got to the final.
Why don't you
there was
just
a
do a
dial.
little scrying trick and,
the
We got to the
final,
room with the dais.
the final room.
That's where we slept last night.
The final room was the area with the shark.
No, on the other side of the wall, we had to blow a hole through to get out, or we would have died from insufferable not being able to breathe.
So,
Toast pulls out a rock, and he magical tinkerings a video of what he saw. So a holographic image just pops out of this rock, and it basically just plays the other room.
I have to apologize. I didn't really know about this other room. Would you be able to show me anything that you found in the room?
I suppose.
I just start pointing at Ortega. You gonna
And
show him?
Ortega will open his coin purse and pull out whatever amulet-y jewel was on top of the dais.
He kind of looks at it and goes, You see, a vision also came to me last night. There was a golden amulet rose to the surface of a pool of blood, and countless hands lunged upward out of the blood to grasp it. In turn, all the hands fell back into the pool until only one remained. The one whose hand claimed the amulet was a handsome man with a curly hair and a somber expression. He turned to me and he said, "They must find me. The ones from the grotto. I hate to break it to you, but if this is what I think it is, I believe you guys have come across something known as a vestige of Divergent. I have actually had the liberty of being inside of one, and a really good friend of mine actually was the bearer of one for quite some time. I believe this one is known as the Jewel of Three Prayers. People do not stumble upon vestiges without reason. There is no place in Zorhaz where the memory of the calamity lingers more strongly than in an area known as Bazoaxen. I think this contest, this competition, the path you are on, is more than just what I originally thought. I want you to know, Bazoaxen is a grim town. It's under the control of the Aurora Watch. It's not really a pleasant place to visit, but if my vision and the vision that you all had have anything to do with this vestige of divergence, that town is going to be your place to check and to start, and I would welcome any and all information that you find out. And as for...
I sidle up to Ragbeer and I say, I appreciate the experience, but follow-up information does not come gratis.
Oh, you will be well rewarded. Do not worry about that.
Well,
Gratis means free.
You've spoken much about rewards, but right now I have lungs full of water and a few new friends, and if you're telling me my reward is the friends I've made along the way, I'm looking for a little bit more.
Let's go back to Jigao,
No,
and we will get you the reward. I can offer 100 gold pieces each to the victors.
Yeah, I thought that might perk his ears up.
Yeah,
Is that
no,
a decent
at
amount?
that point, Ari's body language entirely changes.
Is that a decent reward?
Not bad.
It's not shabby, Toast. It's not
Okay.
shabby at all.
It's more gold in one satchel than I've ever had in my lifetime of being in Wildmount.
I never understood value of gold. It tends to be flimsy and malleable, with no other purpose than trading.
Just don't eat it, my Ormaton friend.
I do not eat metal.
Oh, well, great then.
I don't eat in general. Actually, I don't eat in general. Yeah.
Well, why don't we get on your boat, Ragbeer, and head back to town?
Now that I think of it, I have acquired taste. Ha! 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 Literally. I am discovering what taste is, for I do not eat. I have literally acquired taste. Ha! I think that is supposed to be humorous.
Nailed it, buddy. Nailed it.
I am learning. thumbs up.
So as you kind of in a similar fashion, you see that the boat sort of does a lot of these things all on its own. It doesn't take long for the boat to sail back to Jigao, to which he offers you and the other party free room and board at the local inn, which is known as the Unbroken Tusk.
The Unbroken Tusk.
Yeah, Unbroken Tusk Inn.
Nice.
Before we leave Ragbeard, I do want to ask him a question.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you find the robot?
It's a funny story, actually. I may have ran into it unknowingly.
Or with a riddle?
Yes, there.
It's a recording. It's of all of you.
He had a recording?
Recording.
I didn't think he was active at the time. He was just a bucket of bolts on the side of the wall. When we left, I didn't see it. I figured it had been destroyed, but I went back to go get a few things. And he kind of like looks at Dermot. He kind of like looks down at the Luxon beacon. I noticed that he was there. His footprints, it wandered. So I kept tabs on him, figuring out where he'd ended up, and needed to make sure that I kept an eye on my past. And I felt like I was responsible, or we were responsible for bringing him to life. I don't really know. I am surprised about this recording.
Imagine how I felt when I heard it.
Imagine how she would feel if she knew about it. Right. Well, enjoy your time at the inn.
Oh, I'm sure we will get a lot out of that free room and board. Especially if that includes the beverages part of things.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
No,
Ortega,
it's all taken.
have we ever not made full advantage of room and board?
I owe several women some beverages tonight, and at least they're not at my expense.
Yeah.
Talus, would you care to join on my
Not if you're
free
gonna keep
beverage?
talking like that. Get myself a drink, thank you very much.
I feel like those who've had sea breeze at their face, or the blood of their enemies splash their brow, don't need much generosity, but might care. And I look to both Lady Tatiana and to Talus. I look to both of them and say, how about first rounds on you?
That I can get behind.
I'll take a double.
As you guys all kind of get a table and kind of get yourself situated, you do see that the other party, they have their own room. They're kind of split up at this point. Io, she sits down, she pulls up a chair, she sits down beside you, and her tail kind of wraps around one of the steins, the many steins that you've now amassed. She brings it close and she looks at you guys and she goes, "We are not fools.
I do not believe anyone said you were.
We shared the same vision. And let's just say that I'm genuinely curious to know about what we had found. I'm going to talk, and I've already discussed it a little bit with some friends. I'm going to talk with the rest of the group, and we think that maybe there could be some safety in numbers, and we would like to come with you."
Ortega's gonna look to our Lady Petrovic, then Talus, and lastly Toast.
Toast raises his hand and
Yes, Toast.
he says, allies are better than enemies. But I have also heard, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I think it applies.
Toast. I think it means let's snuggle.
What is snuggling?
Oh, I'm very
A larger
fond of
comment.
snuggling. But in
That's good. I have a tent to share. But before we get to that, why don't we see what bringing you along gets us? And if it goes well, we'll let you in on the secret of what it is we're carrying. To be honest, we don't really know what it is yet. That's what we're trying to go find out.
Rest of the morning to decide.
that we can
We'll
do.
talk it amongst ourselves.
Because we haven't even decided if we're going yet. I don't even know if it's worth
You know
it.
we're going.
I mean, of course we're going. Right, Alec? We are going, right?
I have no other plans.
And that's like the first questioning Ortega has had since he's been in Jigo. He's been pretty forthright, and he's like actually questioning where they're going right now. Sorry.
Well, holding still doesn't do much for any of us. So I looked at Tatiana, and I looked at Talus, and I'm already standing next to Toast, feeling pretty tight. And I asked Tatiana and Talus, looking at Ortega, and I say, will you carry onward with us? We have a good thing going. And I look over to Talus, and I ask honestly, you're used to being a captain. Now I'm not looking for a rise in rank, but I'm not looking to take orders either. I would like for you to join us. What do you think about that?
As long as I'm not on my ship, I'm nobody's captain. And as Ortega said last night, it doesn't have to be forever, but it's good for now. I'm down to see where this adventure takes all of us together.
Look at that, Ari.
Ask for
We got ourselves
It seems like friendship.
looking for a country now, haven't we?
We really have been, and we didn't really know it.
I pull out my gun bullets, and I say to Talus, never for you. I pull out one of the magic bullets, and I give it to Toast, and I say, never for you. I pull out the last bullet, and I give it to Tatiana, and I say, never for you. These guns have killed Betty. If you're with me, then I'm with you. It's the same oath I swore to Ortega. It's the same bullet I gave him. Nothing that leave my gun will find you.
And if you want, I can use my smith tools to put a little hole through them and a string and make one of these, and he'll hold up his little bullet necklace that he got from Ari, and then tuck it back inside his armor.
That is brilliant craftsmanship. Show me.
Maybe another time, Toast.
My gun is empty. And before, I don't reload it. And I put it back into its holster. And we proceed together.
Hell yeah.
I don't see why not.
The rest of the day, you guys kind of spend mulling it over, discussing travel plans. The festival at this point is over, and a roaming group of concert that kind of comes in that Ragbeer has kind of had to kind of like the final, it's like a big concert now.
Are there any artists that Ari recognizes from his past?
Not anyone that you've recognized, unfortunately.
Okay.
You've heard of some of these people before, but they're more so like local tavern performers, stuff like that.
Cool.
Do any of them have guitars?
Yes, most of them have a lute.
That is cool, because Toast would spend an hour using a feature he has called the right tools for the job, and he would change his carpentry tools to, like, wood carving.
There is one that is kind of like the headliner of the night, and she is a pallid elf. Once she is done, I would say at this point it's probably about 10 o'clock at night.
Toast, he's got his tools now that have been changed. It's like he's practicing to make something with these tools.
Ortega is going to spend the rest of his night in the bar talking up to every female that he's been in contact with since he's been in Jago.
Ari hangs out on his own with an eye out for another lonely soul with a scruffy disposition.
I think Ortega tries to find Meryl Bronzefang so that he can actually buy her a drink that he offered her a couple days before.
She is a patron at the other bar that you did the arm wrestling at. It's not hard to find her. You see that she's already like 8 or 9 drinks in, and she's been
That's where Ortega ends up.
A lot of people have been buying her drinks, let's put it that way. Ari, as you're looking around, you don't really see the person that you're interested in. No one really seems to fit that bill, but you do find yourself kind of sauntering over to where the bards were playing. And as you kind of settle in for the night, as the bar clears out, you pick up a lute and you start to just pluck away and sing your song. As everyone goes to their rooms or goes off into parts unknown in Jigao, the only people that are there at the end of the night are Tatiana, Toast, Talus, Io, who is now packing up and leaving, Dermot. And as they part ways for the night, the bar closes And you put your guitar, you put your lute down, and you see that the innkeeper struck in a little bit by actually how well you're able to do it. He looks at you and he goes, keep it. It's an old one anyways. Seems like an old soul like yourself. It's like you were destined to play it. And with that, he kind of kills the light that kind of controls all the ambient candle lights. The room goes dark, which doesn't affect most of you for Toast. And he goes, I left the keg open for you guys. Just do the dishes when you're done. And he locks the door.
Probably at this time that Ortega stumbles in the door right before it gets locked.
He passes you and all right.
His poncho is probably like half missing. His cowboy hat is no longer on his head. He doesn't know where it is.
Ari's holding the lute, and after he heard that it was his, it's like he only heard a ringing noise. Because I think that's all joy feels like for him. It's been a long time, and Ari feels really happy.
Having spent the whole night just sitting there pondering, you guys wake up in your respective rooms feeling refreshed and one level higher. And that's what we'll end it tonight.
Yeah!
Yes!
With newfound knowledge about this newly acquired vestige of divergence, our heroes wake up in a bustling tavern, invigorated and leveled up. Congratulations, brave adventurers, and thank you, dear listeners, for being a part of this revelatory chapter in our epic saga. As we bid farewell to this enlightening encounter, stay tuned for more excitement, thrilling battles, and the joy of leveling up in the next thrilling episode. May your own adventures be filled with ancient secrets, unforgettable moments, and countless opportunities for growth. I am your Dungeon Master and host, Kyle. Thank you for being a part of our grand saga, where knowledge empowers and destiny beckons. The best is yet to come.